Reddix looked down at her old shoes. It felt like someone had taken a hammer to the bottom of her feet. She could grow accustomed to the freezing air seeping through the holes, or the thin soles that made her feel every contour of the cobblestones beneath her feet. But she would never grow accustomed to the long walks, especially the one back home, when the constant rumbling in her stomach felt like punishment for her worst sin: poverty. Sometimes she wished her love for learning didn't outweigh her aversion to the cold and hunger. It was particularly hard to wake up so early during these dark months. But this would be her last year. She was nearly 16, the age when she was expected to magically transform into an obedient worker, or a damsel ready for a convenient match. She never shied away from hard work, even if she didn't always receive a proper payment. She was already well versed in the dance of patrons trying to save money by cutting wages. She had worked at the bookstore illustrating books in exchange for old manuscripts the owner couldn't sell. If all the stars aligned, she would become a paid employee there, and if luck wasn't on her side, she would end up as a maid in one of the few rich houses in the city. Options were slim for her. That was how things were in Hallstatt for all souls. Well, at least for the ones who didn't have a privy chamber inside their homes. The rich damsels and bachelors lived in a completely different world. They would continue their studies with private tutors, specialize in matters of the family businesses, and eventually marry each other to further increase their already extravagant wealth. It seemed easier to make a pig confess to a crime than for wealth to abandon a family with generations of affluence. Even so, Reddix was ready to make that pig talk, squeal, and even scream. She was sure that she was going to have a different destiny. She didn't know how yet, but she wasn't going to die poor. The crowd ahead reminded her that she was almost home. It was Friday, a day for merchants to sell their vegetables, meat, and other goods in the small market just a couple of streets away from her house. Reddix was excited at the sight of the shops. She started reaching into her pocket for reassurance. Good, my coins are still there. She had saved her entire stipend each week for 2 whole months just for this day. Now she could finally buy parchment and ink for the first time. Finally, she would be able to draw whatever she wanted, and not just what the owner of the bookstore told her to create.